What if everything you've been taught about achieving success is wrong? What if the key to everything you desire, happiness, love, success, isn't more effort, more striving, or more control, but letting go? Alan Watts understood a profound truth. The more you try to control life, the more it slips through your fingers. We live in a world that pushes us to be in control, to plan every step, to have everything figured out. We believe that in order to have what we want, we need to chase it, grab it, and force it into place. But Watts showed us that this approach only creates resistance and struggle. When we hold on too tightly, life becomes a battle, and the things we desire seem to move further away. But what if the opposite is true? What if by letting go of our need to control, we actually create the space for what we truly want to flow into our lives? Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means surrendering the false belief that we are the ones in charge of everything. It's about trusting life's process, its timing, and its unfolding, knowing that it is working for us, not against us. Watts said, "The more a thing tends to be permanent, the more it tends to be lifeless." Life is fluid. It cannot be contained or controlled, and the more we try to force it into a mold, the more we push away the very things we desire. In this series, we'll explore how letting go unlocks the flow of life, bringing you everything you've been seeking without struggle. Let's dive deeper into how letting go can bring you closer to the life you've always wanted. Surrender doesn't mean giving up. It's the opposite. Surrendering is an active choice to stop resisting, to stop trying to control every outcome. This act of letting go is where the magic lies, and it's how life begins to flow effortlessly toward you. We've been taught that success is about doing more effort, more planning, more control. But what if that's exactly what's standing in the way? What if instead of forcing things into existence, the key to having everything you want lies in letting go and trusting the process? Alan Watts famously spoke about Wu Wei, which translates to effortless action. This concept doesn't suggest that we should sit back and do nothing. On the contrary, it encourages us to act, but without attachment to the outcome. It's about moving with life, not pushing against it. When we try to control everything, we actually create resistance. We think that if we force things to go our way, we'll get the results we want. But this constant pushing only leads to struggle. The real secret is surrendering to the flow of life. When you let go, you align with life's natural rhythm. You stop forcing the outcomes and instead trust that things will unfold as they should. This trust isn't passive. It's an active acceptance of the unknown, of uncertainty, and of life's ability to bring you exactly what you need at the right time. And in that surrender, you create space for the very things you desire to come to you, not by effort, but by letting go of the need to control and simply trusting the process. The more you let go, the more life begins to flow. Here's where it gets truly paradoxical. The more you let go, the more you actually gain. It seems counterintuitive, doesn't it? We're taught to take control, to hold tightly to what we want, to never let go of our desires until we have them in our grasp. But in reality, the tighter we hold on, the further we push our desires away. The act of letting go doesn't mean abandoning your goals or desires. It's about releasing the need to control how and when those desires will manifest. It's about shifting from a place of anxiety and resistance to one of openness and acceptance. When we surrender, we're not giving up on what we want. We're simply saying, I trust that this will come to me in the perfect time and way. In this trust, we stop pushing against the natural flow of life. We stop clinging to expectations and allow ourselves to move with ease. Alan Watts often said, you don't have to do anything, just be. In letting go, you become present. You engage with life fully, without the distractions of anxiety or doubt. This presence allows life to unfold in ways that are aligned with your highest good, far beyond what you could have planned or imagined. When you let go of your attachment to specific outcomes, you begin to trust the process. And in that trust, you find that everything you've wanted starts to flow toward you, without struggle. This isn't about passivity. It's about allowing life's natural rhythm to carry you where you need to go, effortlessly and with ease. When we let go, we often think we're giving up something valuable: control, direction, certainty. But in reality, we're giving up the very things that keep us trapped: fear, resistance, and attachment. The act of surrender is not a loss, but a freedom. It frees us from the burden of constantly striving, struggling, and trying to force things into place. Alan Watts often spoke about how we are conditioned to think that our worth is tied to our ability to achieve and succeed. Society tells us that our value comes from what we do and how much we have. But Watts reminds us that we are already whole, just as we are. We don't need to constantly prove ourselves. When we let go, we realize that we are already enough, that life doesn't have to be a constant fight for survival and success. The freedom in surrender is not about giving up on our dreams. It's about freeing ourselves from the anxiety of needing things to happen on our timeline. When we trust the process, we allow ourselves to flow with life, to meet it where it is, and to respond with clarity, not fear. Surrendering to life's natural rhythm means we no longer force or manipulate circumstances. Instead, we act with intention and let life bring us what we need at the right time. This doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing with less attachment to the outcome and more trust in the journey. The more we let go, the more life opens up in ways we never expected. And in this freedom, we find the peace and fulfillment that we've been seeking all along. One of the greatest misunderstandings about letting go is the belief that it means doing nothing. On the contrary, letting go isn't about inaction. It's about effortless action. Alan Watts often spoke about the idea of wu wei, effortless actions, a concept rooted in Taoism that encourages us to act without forcing. Effortless action is about aligning your actions with the natural flow of life. It's about responding to life's challenges and opportunities with grace and clarity, not out of resistance or fear. When we let go of our need to control, we open ourselves to acting with purpose, but without the strain of trying to make things happen. Think of it like water flowing downstream. Water doesn't fight against the current, it moves with it, effortlessly finding its path. It adapts to the shape of its surroundings, yet it doesn't stop moving forward. In the same way, when we let go and trust, we find that life moves us forward without the need for constant force. We make decisions with ease, without second-guessing ourselves, because we're not attached to specific outcomes. This doesn't mean we become passive. Instead, we learn to act with intention, but without attachment. It's a balance of being fully engaged in the present moment, yet detached from the result. And this is where the magic happens. When you stop forcing things to happen, life begins to unfold with ease. As Watts said, the more a thing tends to be permanent, the more it tends to be lifeless. Life thrives in movement, in flow, and when we talk about letting go, we often think it means relinquishing control over everything. But one of the most powerful aspects of letting go is embracing the present moment. Alan Watts often emphasized that life only happens now. We spend so much of our time caught up in the past, replaying old memories, or looking ahead, obsessing over what might happen in the future. But true peace and freedom come from being fully present. When we're present, we allow life to flow naturally, without distraction, without resistance. Think about a moment when you were completely absorbed in the present, when time seemed to stand still and everything just felt right. In those moments, you didn't need to force anything. You weren't trying to control the situation. You were simply there, engaged with life in its purest form. This is the state that trust and surrender lead us to. The key to letting go is allowing ourselves to experience life as it is right now, not as we wish it would be or as we think it should have been. Presence is about observing without judgment, without trying to change or manipulate what's in front of us. It's in this space of pure presence that life flows most effortlessly. When you embrace the present, you realize that life doesn't need to be planned. It doesn't need to be controlled. Everything you want, every experience, every opportunity exists in the present. The more you trust in this moment, the more you invite the world to meet you exactly where you are. And this is where you begin to see the paradox. Letting go of attachment to outcomes brings you closer to everything you've been seeking. When you stop chasing the future, you begin to experience the richness of life right in front of you. Detachment is often misunderstood as indifference, as a cold or uncaring attitude toward life. But detachment, as Alan Watts teaches, is not about shutting ourselves off from the world. It's about freedom from attachment to specific outcomes, desires, or expectations. When we let go, we release the need for life to unfold in any particular way. It's not that we no longer care about what happens in our lives. Rather, we free ourselves from the anxiety of needing things to happen on our timeline in the exact way we imagine them. This is the essence of detachment, living fully and passionately, yet without clinging to the result. Watts often emphasized that the attachment to outcomes creates suffering. The more we cling to how we think things should unfold, the more we set ourselves up for disappointment when life doesn't align with those expectations. Detachment, then, becomes a powerful tool for peace. It's not about disengaging from life, but about engaging with it without forcing it to bend to our will. Think of it like a gardener tending to a plant. The gardener provides care, attention, and nourishment, but doesn't control the growth of the plant. They simply nurture it, trusting that it will grow in its own time. Detachment is like this, doing what is needed, but trusting the process, knowing that the plant will bloom when the time is right. When we embrace detachment, we find that life flows naturally toward us. We no longer need to fight for every outcome because we've made peace with the uncertainty of life. The more we let go, the more we see that life is not something to be controlled, but something to be experienced, effortlessly and with grace. Letting go doesn't just give us freedom, it unlocks a new way of living, one that's marked by peace, clarity, and deep connection. When we surrender our need to control everything, we stop fighting life. We stop resisting the natural ebb and flow of existence. But this doesn't mean we become passive or detached from the world. It means we engage with life fully, without clinging to outcomes. Alan Watts often taught that the act of letting go is not about rejecting life's challenges, but about embracing them with trust. Life is not something to dominate, it's something to experience. And the more we trust it, the more we invite it to unfold in ways that are even greater than we could have imagined. This is the heart of letting go, understanding that everything we need is already here. By releasing our grip on life, we allow it to show us the opportunities, people, and experiences we've been seeking. The more we hold on to expectations, the more we push away the very things that could bring us joy and fulfillment. The true freedom in surrender comes from the realization that life doesn't need to be controlled, it needs to be lived. The more we trust, the more we stop fighting for things to be a certain way, the more we step into a... To truly understand the power of letting go, we must recognize that life is not a separate entity to conquer. It is the very fabric we are woven into. Every action, every thought, every step we take is part of the dance of life. When we let go, we stop fighting against the rhythm, and instead, we begin to move in harmony with it. Alan Watts frequently spoke of the interconnectedness of all things, of how every part of life flows together in an intricate web of cause and effect. In his words, you are an aperture through which the universe is looking at and exploring itself. Letting go is not about becoming disconnected from life. It's about surrendering to the realization that we are part of something much larger than ourselves. This shift in perception is powerful. Once we stop trying to control every aspect of our lives, we open ourselves to being guided by life itself. No longer bound by the expectations and pressures we place on ourselves, we become open to the surprises and beauty that life unfolds for us. Living in harmony with life is not about being passive or detached. It's about becoming fully engaged in the process of existence. It's about responding to life's cues, moving with the current rather than against it. And in this flow, life reveals its gifts, often in ways we least expect, but always in perfect timing. When we let go, we stop fighting life's current, and instead, we trust that it will carry us exactly where we need to go. We align ourselves with the rhythm of life, and everything we've been seeking finds its way to us,